Hey, my name's Starthinker, Randy Pischel, also known by my channel Valentine Goose. Valentine Goose is not my moniker, it's the moniker of the channel. I have been Starthinker since 1979. I'm actually registered as Starthinker Enterprises. But anyway, I had to start this video a couple times. I kept getting distracted by the cat who's doing her zoomies for some reason. But something happened, and I got my fancy watch. Today's the 15th, and I was really bored. No one's going live tonight. I like being live. I like making snide remarks in other people's chat rooms. But no one's live tonight. After Toby went off the air, and I missed Toby because I was frying a sausage and potato. I love that. And so I missed that, and now I'm like, oh god, no, what's going on? There was the one last night that I was on. It was like over 5 hours. I did fall asleep for like the last half hour, so I just woke up just in time for them to sign off, and I was like, oh shoot, I missed the end. But I do like sitting there and listening, and I would do it myself. I don't have Zoom. There's not really a good way to do a screen sharing without Zoom. I don't like buying little things like that because there's so much to keep track of. I bought a VPN software, and it still bugs me to this day. Like once a year, I'm not expecting it. Like this money comes out of my account, I'm like, oh shoot, I forgot I had this VPN program. So, and Zoom is like that. It's a yearly subscription, I think. But anyway, something happened a few days ago, and I was like, tonight I was just sitting there and I was looking at forums and stuff. Actually, I was working on. Let me see if I got it right here. The cats ate, like literally ate, my homework for this. If you don't recognize this is Naimo Specs cipher, and I was doing some number crunching because like my original number crunching got eaten. You know, the cats just shredded it. But I had to redo my frequency analysis, and one of the things she wrote, oh yeah, see, she doesn't like it when you pet her, but this is like the softest cat I've ever experienced in my entire life. She's just downy soft. She's not a kitten anymore. She's like a year and a half old. But oh, now I can't stop playing with her. But she doesn't want you to pet her. Every time you try to pet her, she goes, and she bites my hand. And but she is just so soft. It's just like paradoxical. It's like the thorns on a rose. And there she goes zooming again. So this is gonna be a really distracting video. But let me get back on track. So I was working on this, and she puts comments, and she actually answered a few of the comments. And one of the things she said was that nothing else is needed. So, and I kept saying, this is a Beal cipher, this is a Beal cipher. But she kept saying nothing else is needed. And if it's a Beal cipher, then definitely something else is needed, because you need a block of text to, form the Beal cipher over. So I started going back, and I spent like the last 2 days, which is ironic because this happened 3 days ago, and I've been working like the last 2 days on this. Going through and trying to figure out if there's any other code buried in 65 numbers, and of course it was driving me crazy. And I just noticed on the forum, I keep forgetting her name, but she wrote Naimo, and said, hey, is this a Beal cipher? And they wrote back, yes, this is a Beal cipher, but everything is in the code, is what everything is there to help you find the block of text that the Beal cipher is based off of. In a nutshell, if you go to the Mysterious Writings forum, Jenny, is it Jenny? It's posted in the night. Why can't I get that right? Naimo Specs. There's an actual forum for this cipher on Mysterious Writings, and she actually posted it there that, hey, yeah, this is a Beal cipher. She spelled it wrong, which is, it's hard to say if that was intentional or if she just spelled it wrong.
but I don't know. It really rubbed me the wrong way because I went on the assumption that nothing else was needed, and I spent 2 days on it. And I've heard this a lot. Like people are say, "Oh, I wasted so much time on this, and it had nothing to do with it." And I had people write me, and the one I did address publicly, they were saying that the margins were off, and they were finding spots where the paragraphs were indented from the margins differently than other pages. Paragraphs were indented from the margin, and so I just addressed that. I'm like, no, that's nothing. That's just the printing process. And they're like, oh, I wasted so much time on this, but it's like in a hunt, you're going to waste time, and that's just a thing. And that got me thinking about red herrings, and there's an art to a red herring, and a red herring, it should, and this, another thing that brought this up was when I was watching that long 5-hour thing last night. Someone was talking about my book, and they said, you're really good at making, I can't remember which way he put it, he said, you're really good at like having a Beal cipher, but making it look like a poly be a square. Or he might have said it the other way around, you're really good at making it look like a poly be a square, but it turned out to be a Beal cipher. And that got me thinking, like, I don't think that was intentional. I don't know what he was referring to, so I'm not sure, but I don't see that as a red, well, that's kind of a, like, maybe a little misdirection, but a red herring is something that leads you down the wrong path purposely, and it's purposely causing you to waste time. And I think that's perfectly valid. I really do. And there have been hunts that had red herrings. In fact, I think I must have put it away. But I had a whole bunch of treasure books out a couple days ago. But there was things in a treasure trove that almost looked like writing. You swear you would look at it, and you're like, there's writing in this scribble. I know there is. And it was intentional. It was to make you look at it and look for writing. And one of the things people kept asking Mike Stather was, there are typos in the book. There's actual typos in the answers of his ciphers. And they're like, is this intentional? Does this mean something? And he would say, I can't answer that. I can't answer questions about my book. And when it was over and he revealed everything, someone asked, because he put out a solved book, and someone said, hey, you never addressed the typos. Did the typos mean anything? He was like, nope, they're just typos. But a lot of people spent a lot of time. I remember seeing forum posts about, the typos. And if you take all the typos and you take the letters that were missing and the letters that were added, and you could anagram it, and it comes out to this and that. And this is where people go down they go down rabbit holes. And it's like, you don't really... You can't blame the author for something like that. He didn't make people look at the typos, and I know that there's typos in my book, and people ask me about them, and I say the same thing. I'm not going to answer them, and I can't say too much about that because I'd be giving a hint. But it's like, man, I'm trying to think of how to formulate this thought, but there's those types of red herrings. There's an unintentional red herrings, because even I'm trying to think who it was who said that someone was looking at some aspect of their puzzle and they didn't even realize that it could be looked at that way. And but then there's intentional things, like I think it was I'm not sure I followed, but in the Michigan hunt, apparently, one of the moderators answered a question incorrectly, later deleted it or something, and then said, well, that's just part of the hunt. And it was like he intentionally lied. And I know K-Pro called him out on that. He says, well, what if you say it's, the treasure's not in some dangerous place, but people say, well, they lied before. And I just think that's a slippery slope. Once you're caught in a lie,
you're just going to be labeled a liar, and nothing you say after that's going to be trusted. And so when they said that happened, I was like, now you can't trust anything they say, because they've already intentionally lied to you. So it's going to be a long time before that trust is built back up again. And that brings me to another point where people are just asking questions of the authors. And one of the reasons I don't answer questions, and I don't even look, it's been a long time since I even looked at my instant message, because I'll see like, 3 people who are not in your friends list sent you instant messages, and I've been ignoring those. But people just write the author and say, hey, did you intend this? Hey, did you do this? And I think that's what happened. I think it was Jenny that wrote Nahimo Spec and said, hey, is this a Beale cipher? And they wrote back and said yes. And it's up to an author if they want to answer questions like that. But I just think that is like, I don't know, it's not cheating, but it's like, it should be clear somehow. And of course, I'm one to talk because there's no rules in my book, but there's something that always points to something. And I mean, that'll be clear when everything's over, but there's something that will always point to something if I want that to be called, if I want to call attention to that. And you may miss it, you may overlook it, you may not see it, but it is there. So if someone says, no, that's not real, or yes, that is, and then the opposite is true, then they've outright lied. And it's just like if someone wrote me and said, hey, your paragraphs, they don't line up with the margins on certain pages, does that mean anything? If I said, maybe it does, sure, and they spent a lot of time on it, it's like, did I lie to them, even though I know it's not important? And that's what some people did. And in this Naomi Spec, I don't think they lied, but they said that nothing else was needed. And now in a forum, in Mysterious Writings, which is public, so I guess, but the letter written and the reply was not public. They posted the letter, the email, and that's what I try to avoid, like 100%. Because what if, and I keep saying Jenny, but I might be wrong, but what if she wrote and said, hey, is this a Beale cipher? She got the answer back that said, yes, this is a Beale cipher, but then she kept that information to herself. I would still be sitting here trying to number crunch all these numbers, trying to find a code, because public, on her YouTube channel, it says nothing else is needed. And I don't know, I don't see how, saying, okay, yeah, but you do need this other block of text somewhere. In her email she says, but the block of text is, you'll be able to find that block of text by using clues in the video. And that's 2 different things. And I just don't think, it was done with malice, but that's the whole situation. Like, that's the kind of thing I truly want to avoid. And so that's why when people write me, I might act on a few things. Someone would write me and say, hey, where you hid the token, it's torn down. I'm like, well, first of all, I know for a fact that a lot of the puzzles in the book haven't been solved. Hey, darn it. Haven't been solved, and it's just, I would know because people would post it. And so I know there's no way they found where the token was. And plus, like I said a couple of videos back, I found a traffic can that on a clear day, if you look close enough, you can squint your eyes, you can kind of see where it is. So I know nothing was torn down, but they say that with such authority. Hey, so yeah, every once in a while I'll see something, and that was an act. I looked, but I never replied to that person. I addressed it in a video, but it's like, I wouldn't do that privately. If someone emailed me, and I think this happened early on, someone emailed me, and I said, that's a good question, post it publicly in the forum and I might answer it. And I just won't answer it privately. Because like I said, what if Jenny never told anyone that she got an answer back that it was a Beale cipher? Um, and I think, given that, that's something that should be posted on the YouTube page. Uh, I mean, I started right in my first video. I said, this is a Beale cipher. I knew it was. Um, but I had to think, okay, honestly, I have to go by what they said. They said nothing else is needed. And going by that, I don't think anyone would ever solve it. And if someone is not going to mysterious writings forums, they might make the same mistake I did and never solve it either. Um, let's see. I wrote notes down because they're like my brain is all over the place tonight. So I was like, did I address everything? And I don't think I was thinking about like, what would you do to solve a hunt? And like I already said, people would write the author and just ask the author questions. And that's not, I don't do that. If you want to ask me a question, do it publicly in the forum so that everyone can see it. In the forum, in the Reddit group. If you reply to the YouTube video, I'll probably put that back in the forum if it was something I was going to answer. That pertains to the puzzle. Like, I'll chat and stuff, but if it doesn't pertain to the puzzle. But asking questions like that and getting an answer, that to me is just questionable. I don't, and I know that, like, I don't know if I should say any names, but there was a hunt where someone answered a private question one way to one person and a different way to a different person. So, and then somehow those two people started comparing notes and we're like, hey, and then they figured it out. Hey, he told us we asked the same question, but we got two different answers. So I really think if you're going to do a treasure hunt, you should really avoid that. And, but what would a person do? And I know there's this stupid lawsuit where this woman thinks her computer was hacked. People think computers are so easy to hack because everyone talks about how easy it is to hack a computer. And maybe it is, maybe it isn't. I've been a network engineer. I know that we have computers that we intentionally open up so that we can get into them, and we can't. So a hacker, if we can't get into them when we design them to get into them, a hacker's just, it's not like a simple matter of, hey, clicking on a keyboard and they're in. And I just think it's so silly that a person would think, first of all, someone would know they had the answer on their computer and then figure out how to hack into it and lift the answer out and then go get it. And then that whole thing is just so ridiculous. But would a person be desperate enough to do that? And I've made it public in some of my videos, but I got a briefcase over there where all my answers are. And sure, someone could break into my house, steal the briefcase, and they would know how to answer all the puzzles. That would just be blatant, though. That's crazy. So what other kind of cheats can there be? I know some of these puzzles were, like I said, there's like 100 of them now, and some were answered in 4 days, some were solved in 4 days, and some were solved like literally the day it was released. And I don't think anyone has cheated on those. And I don't, other than, was it Maranatha? Not Maranatha. What was the one? The author gave his brother-in-law the answer or something, and then they went and got it. I don't recall any other instances of blatant cheating. So I don't think cheating is an issue with treasure hunts. This stupid lawsuit aside. So I just don't see cheating being an issue. And the last thing is, well, and like I said, if you write an author and he sends you information and you keep that information to yourself, that's not cheating. The author answered your question, and now you have information that takes you beyond. The other thing is sharing. And I thought it was so funny that someone was talking about the Beacon Star Zoom meeting, and they're like, And my assignment was to do this, and I can just picture Kyle Lazar's going, okay, everyone's got their assignments, break, and everyone goes and does their assignments. But he said before, someone solves it, they're not sharing it amongst the people of the Zoom meeting, but like they had assignments, and it's just like, I just thought that was funny. But sharing is another thing. I think if you share and something gets solved, you should share whatever the prize is. But if you're going to share your information and say you share information and someone just happens to be closer to the boots on the ground than you and they get to it before you do, that's just the way it goes. I don't think that's cheating because it was shared. It was just someone taking advantage of a situation. So if you post on a forum, hey, I think this is how it's solved, and then someone takes that, and they don't even have to post back, and they're just like looking at it going, oh, I think he was right, and they go check it out, and they find the prize. They're not under an obligation to share that, I don't think. But I think this is something that could be discussed because, like I said, there's just hundreds of hunts out, and there's so many. And like the Michigan hunt, he was like, don't talk and don't share because that's going to disqualify you. And then he kind of modified that. So, well, you can share in a group, because I think with social media, you're social, you're going to share. But let's see, working off others. That's what you're doing. You're standing on the shoulders of others. And that's how the world works. I mean, the person who cures cancer isn't going to do it from the ground up. They're going to do it based on information they got from other people who researched cancer. And then those people got it from stuff who researched how cells work, who researched how chemicals work, who researched how atoms work, and they all play off each other. And if people do that in a treasure hunt, I guess that's the way it goes. And for an author like me, I designed my book because I knew people would share. And that was one of the things Michael Stather was shocked at. I mean, when I sat down and we talked about that, I mean, he was like, I'm shocked. I am shocked someone had the answer and shared it. And he said, I thought, because we had a dinner where all the, there was like 20 some people there, and these are all the people that solved the puzzles in the book. And he says, I thought I'd be having dinner with one person, maybe two. He said, because the puzzles were all based on the same kind of cipher, someone could solve the first one and then just go through and figure out the rest of them. But because someone solved the first one, and I was like the second person that found it, and the first thing I did was share it. So I'm guilty of that too. And then like boom, the floodgates open and everyone was solving it on their own. And there was one puzzle in the book that had an anagram, but everything else was Polybius squares. And it's like, you're gonna share. And I designed my book because I'm like, okay, there's information in the book that would be hard to obtain without going boots on the ground, but people who have gone boots on the ground have already posted, hey, this is what I found. So now if you can't go boots on the ground, you can at least Google it and say, hey, this is what that person found. Now I got that information. So my book was like literally made to share. And so the fact that there's a Zoom meeting doesn't bother me, but I think if someone in there solves it, like they either shouldn't tell the other people or I don't know, just I think everyone should get a cut or something, because if they all contributed, I mean, that's just me. If I had a private Zoom, that's how I would work it, but I guess that's how they're working it. But I think it's just funny they had, assignments, here's your assignment, here's your assignment, here's your assignment, everybody got their assignments, go. That's how I picture it. That's how I picture them doing it. So red herrings, so if you do have a red herring, I mean, that's, if you've read Sherlock Holmes. If you've read Hardy Boys, you know that in the first act, they think they've solved it. They've checked things out. They're spending time on it, and it turns out to be a dead end. And if you purposely put something in there to look like a red herring, like I said in Michael Stather's book, there's scribbles that you would swear almost look like a polybius. You know, you can almost make out 5 components, or you can almost make out that there's letters. And he did that so that it would look like something else. And I have no problem with that. And when I had my book, and at first the first way I formatted it just wasn't working. You know, because when you submit your manuscript, when they form it into a book, it just kept coming out wrong. And I'm like, no, this isn't how I envisioned it. So I came up with, if you notice in my book, picture pages are always together, and that's the way it worked out. But I had an odd number, so I needed an even number of pictures. And I pulled this from a hunt I was working on before, and I put it in there, and I said, well, I'll just call it a red herring. You know, people can look at it and try to solve it, and they might even get something out of it because it is part of another hunt. It'll be nonsensical. It won't match anything in the book. But I just needed an extra page. So yeah, I intentionally put something in there that people are probably working on and wasting time on, but it is a red herring. And I said if we reached 500 if sales reached 500, that I would tell you which page that was. And let me look here. I got a copy. I thought I had a copy of my book right here. Where would my closest copy be? I was going to reveal, but now I can't find my book. I thought it was right here. And then I thought it was up there, but I don't see it up there. Here, let me pause. Pause over. So, yeah, I didn't want to film myself getting up because I've been sitting on the floor and both my legs are numb. So I paused it and I let my legs come back to life. And then I went and I got my copy. Now, if you look, you almost can't see it, but it says proof in the circle here. This is my proof copy. This is the copy I've written in. This is, I put check marks because I went through and I made sure everything was right and proper and solvable, and I didn't make any mistakes and nothing got left out and there was no typos and blah blah blah. But it's also a copy I carry with me, like when I go to Denver, and I do plan on going to Denver. I made a plan I don't know how it's going to work with COVID, but I'm going to go there and just do a quick check of the token, and then I'm going up to Wyoming to do some camping and attend the it's not a Fenbury, it's a forest, it's a get-together. They've had like 70 people RSVP, so, and I'm horrible in social situations, so I don't know how that's going to work. But let's see. I saw an article where what's his name? I think his name is Beal, and he's got a Kickstarter, and he wanted to get to a certain number of books before he kicked off, and like he wanted to get to 5,000 or something, or 4,000, and it stopped at like 400, and he was apparently like getting worried because it petered out. And I was thinking, my book's been out for years and I haven't sold 400 copies. So if you can do it, great for you. I don't know how long it took Fen to get going. I know he's only selling through one outlet too. He's only selling through the bookstore in Santa Fe. My throat is getting really raw. So yeah, so that's why I was like, sure, get me to 500 copies. And right after Forest, there was You know, because I see a graph when I can go online to where I self-publish, and there's a graph on how many you sold, and you know, you can see it flatlined, and then forest fence hunt ended, and then it said now it's back to flatline. So I've been so discouraged this week. First of all, I was going to make a video on the history of ghosts because I still am into the paranormal thing. And I found another video online, and the guy like even used the same research I'd used, and he made this video of the history of ghosts. And I'm like, that's almost verbatim of what I wanted to do. And I'm like, there's no point in me doing it. If anyone asks me, I'm going to refer to this guy. He did it better. He's got production values. And then I was going to like start debunking, because I watch paranormal videos all night at work, and I was going to start like debunking them, and because a lot of them you'll be like, you know what that is, but the announcer's like, we don't know what this is. So I was going to like do that, and then I found another channel where he's watching the same exact videos I am, and he's finding the same things in them, and I'm like, and his videos are just like mine. He just sits in front of a camera and talks, and I'm like, fine, he already did it, I'm not going to do it again. And then there was a third one. What was the third one? I was going to make a video, oh crap, I can't remember what it was, but there was a third one where I was going to make a video. And again, I was watching a video, because this is something I always want to do, was like go on a ghost hunt and then come back and explain everything I did. So I was watching this video where these guys are exploring this supposedly haunted building, and I'm like, this is the worst ghost hunting show I've ever seen. But they were finding stuff. They kept finding these weird things and picking out noises and seeing shadow people. And then they came back, and that was like the first half hour of the video. And like the second half hour of the video was them going, okay, here's what we could. They were gadget guys, and they were exploring the gadgets of ghost hunting. And in doing that, they were like finding stuff. And then they came back and they said, well, this is why this infrared camera picked up a body where the regular camera picked up nothing, you know. And they explained how the gadgets work, and how not necessarily the people are lying, but that they're using the gadgets and thinking they're finding stuff. And they literally went through the first half of the video and explained every single thing that happened. I'm like, that I wanted to do that too. And so I was really discouraged. And then I'm like, you know, like I said, sales have flatlined. So many hunts are out there, nobody cares anymore. So I thought, you know, what the hell? I'm never going to hit 500. So let me find my page. And I thought it stuck out like a sore thumb, because I discussed some things in here, and I point out a few things that I'm supposed to be pointing out. And then there's this one page that just doesn't match any of that. I thought, all right, people are going to see this one page and think that's the page you should remove. And apparently I was wrong, because people are like, well, we don't know. So apparently it wasn't as easy. Now I'm going to tell you how this code worked. And again, I would have to go through and like actually decode it, because I literally can't remember what message I coded in here, but I remember how I coded it. And that's the cool thing about a code, was if you tell someone how to do it, they should be able to do it on their own. If you tell someone how to do it and they can't do it on their own, I think that's a bad code. So I could tell you how I did it, and I need a straight edge. I'm not sitting in my regular spot, so like all these things that are normally like, boom, I can find this and find this and find this. It's just not there. But let me get my straight edge out. And the one I have nearby is clear, so I don't know how this will show up. But if you look at this page here, and you take a ruler, let me see if I can get this on the camera. And you take a ruler and you put it along the bottom of a line. You can put it along the bottom of the line in such a way that some characters touch the ruler and some characters don't touch the ruler. And if you do that, you can record the ups and downs. and it's basically a bacon cipher. Um, if you use binary code, and binary code starts at 1. 1 is 1, 10 is 2, 11 is 3. I mean, I can't explain without a blackboard. I can't explain how to show you binary. But if you do that, you can write the binary numbers out, 1 through 26. 1 is A, 2 is B, 3 is C. And you measure the ups and downs, divide it into 5, and every group of 5 is a letter based on the binary code for that letter. And like I said, someone will do this for me, I'm sure. I can't remember what the message was. I can't even remember what the story was, but this was supposed to be an altar, and then the code, and then this is just filler. This has nothing to do with the code, the circle, and these 2 circles, and this compass up here, and then the altar with the 2 in it. The 2 kind of refers to binary, but that's filler around it, and filler's fine. If you spent a lot of time on filler, because like I said in the Michael Stather's books, here's the official solve book, so there's some pictures in here. Like if you look at a picture in here, and he shows you which elements were part of the code, but if you spent time on the other elements, I think that's normal. You're going to waste time on stuff. You're just going to, and that's why sharing can be a double-edged sword. Someone can say, hey, I spent 10 months on that and didn't find anything, but good luck to you. You might say, okay, I'm going to give up. But they might say, I spent 10 months on that, good luck to you, and you might go and find something that they didn't. So it's a double-edged sword. You got to kind of take that with a grain of salt. But and this is kind of a secret, so if you didn't watch this to the end of the video, you're never going to know that I said this, but this is the page. It has nothing to do with the book. I just thought, like I said, I thought that stuck out like a sore thumb because it's hand-drawn. It's not drawn with a program. And like I said, the symbols don't matter. And if you look, there's all kinds of symbols in there. The symbols themselves don't matter. And I did come up with a certain number of symbols. And the symbols do spell out another message. But there's a secondary message in the ups and downs. And yeah, so someone could go through, and is that a red herring? Because they're going to go through and they're going to look. And I'm not talking about Beacon Star right now, I'm talking in general for a hunt. So someone goes through and they're trying to solve all these symbols, and they're trying to form an alphabet out of there. And I can't remember if I actually wrote something out in there, but I did write down like all the symbols I was going to use. And then there's a couple symbols I only used once, and there's several symbols like the 2 squiggly lines I use over and over and over again. But the symbols didn't matter. It was whether or not they touched the line. And so yeah, it's a little misdirection. It's a way of doing misdirection, and it's a way of hiding a code in plain sight, which is what steganography is, which is what I love. I love hiding a code in plain sight. It's right there in front of your eyes. But if you didn't know to put a ruler on there, you would never find it. And I had a hard time thinking of a picture, because I was looking at other geographical shapes and stuff, but I thought that was too familiar. If I'm going to put a filler page in, I wanted it to be different enough that at some point you would realize that was a filler page. But then the challenge came out, hey, if we reach 500 books, will you tell us? I just don't think I'm going to reach 500 books. I honestly don't. Unless, like, I call them lay people, because there's the armchair treasure hunt community, there's the boots on the ground treasure hunt community, they're all one big community. And then you got like Forrest Fenn, where just people were reading it in the newspaper and going out and trying to solve it. If you get that kind of notoriety, you're going to make more sales. If you're just targeting the treasure hunt community, I think 400, I think 500 tops that's what you need to plan for. Um, and I didn't plan on ever making money on this book, but it's like I wanted it to be found. And I didn't advertise. I didn't put it out there for the longest time. I think the first place I posted it was on 12 because I didn't see the other forums, and the forums I used to visit were gone, and 12 now is pretty much defunct. But like I said, there hasn't been a post on Hint of Riches since the 2nd of July, I think, and very little activity on Mysterious Writings, and there's no sales, and I'm just like, you know what, I'm just going to go to this Fen meetup, I'm going to go camping, and I'm just going to start working on my next project. And this is there, it's still there if you want to, like I said, if you want to question anything, do it publicly in the forum. I still will not answer emails or instant messages. That is my strict rule. and this whole Naimo spec thing proves my point. You know, her page says one thing, the email to Jenny said another thing, and if Jenny hadn't posted that, and you followed what she said on her YouTube page, you're going to be barking up the wrong tree for a long, long time. But knowing now that I know it's a Beale cipher, which is what I thought it was from the beginning, now I can start looking for a new world. And I mentioned this way back when. I call her my genius friend because I can't say her name, but she looked at that and like already she was like, here's 2 works of literature that has this phrase in it, and I forget what they were offhand, but I'm going to go back and revisit those and just revisit a lot of this stuff now that I know it's a Beale cipher. Now I know I can go and look for a block of text somewhere and not just rely on what's in the video. But anyway, this was long and rambling and about red herrings and lying and cheating and doing things differently. And what would I do? I think it would depend on the amount to win. K-Pro and Cow has their challenge coming up, and I do intend to work on both of them. But will I hack their computer to get the answer? No, I will not try to do something like that. Will I write, like I didn't write Naimo's back. I just don't think I should write an author and ask them questions. I did talk to Michael Statler, but that was after the hunt was over. Once it was over, I was like, I want to know everything you did in this hunt because I'm doing my own hunt and I want to know what you experienced. And I did that with the widow of, I can't remember the name, but the widow of the author of The Secret. I have talked to her, and there were some things that were kind of surprising there. So after the fact, sure, let's talk about it. Before the fact, I think mum's the word. You shouldn't, maybe something like this where there's a challenge and you want to put a hint out. I did, what was the other hint I did? I talked about the token. And I do have, like I said, I do have some hints that I planned on putting out. Let's say this goes 10 years and no one's close. There's another hint I'll put out. I have another, I call it a throwaway hint because I see there's a part of my book that I've seen in every forum and everything that people discussed. And I'm like, there is a reason for that, and I can put that out as a hint. And just to put people's mind at ease and stuff. So sure, I have another one if we can think of another milestone hit, but I just think that this milestone is over. So I'm not going to name this the milestone video. I'm going to name it The Talk of Red Herrings because it's a red herring that I didn't tell you that I was going to answer the question about which page to remove, and I did. So is that a red herring? Let's see. That's the thing that you kind of need to discuss. I think this would be a good topic for a Zoom meeting for all the authors. Get all the authors together and just talk about stuff like this. And I would be interested in that. I haven't participated in a lot of Zoom meetings because I don't like the way I look. I think I look ugly, and I do these videos because I'm sitting here alone in my room, and my studio apartment, which is one big room. And sure, that's easy. Going to West Yellowstone to actually meet some people, that's going to be scary. I'm probably gonna sit at the fringe and go, oh, do I want to go and see these people? Do I want to go say hi? Who do I say hi to? It's going to be nerve-wracking because I'm not very social. So we'll see how that goes. And plus, I'm coming off a week of camping. I'm going to be camping at Outlaw Cave. I'm going to be visiting Denver. I'm actually driving like 3,000 miles. And then I'm going to this meetup. So I don't even know if I'm going to have a shower, how I'm going to smell, what my clothes are going to look like. It's going to be interesting. And for someone who's socially inept, to have that on top of being socially inept, knowing that, hey, my hair hasn't been washed in a week. So I don't know. I might try to get a hotel room the night before just so I can shower and stuff. And maybe do some laundry. I don't know. It's all up. I don't like to plan. I like to just do stuff. So we'll see how that all goes. But anyway, this was a fun video. I got to piece my two pieces together and upload it. And if you're one of the first people to watch this, come back later because I'll link below some of those channels I was talking about where I was going to do it and they did it first. And I think I'll just share those because paranormal stuff, I don't believe in a lot of paranormal stuff. And I think there's reasons for other paranormal stuff that are scientifically based. But I'll save that for another video. If someone doesn't do it already. So anyway, signing off. I am sitting in a new position today. Like I said, my legs are already numb again. This is part of my giraffe collection behind me and my pin collection from Disney. This wardrobe was purchased on the day I was born. Believe it or not. So this is a child's wardrobe, but it's got great big drawers in it. I've literally had it my entire life. And my bed is the same. I've had that bed my entire life. So it's funny that I know the handles aren't original, but like the scroll in the corner, all original. Hinges are original. Drawers still, I mean, they really made stuff back. This is like early 60s. It was built to last, and I've had it my whole life. It's literally been around the world with me. Because when I moved to England, this moved to England with me. And so it's been in Europe. It's been, I lived in Utah, Michigan, Illinois, Colorado. God, where are all the places I've lived? Anyway, I've lived all over, Arizona. And this has moved with me everywhere I've gone. I've never had an issue with it. So yeah, that's a 60-year-old wardrobe that I've just had forever. Anyway, I'm logging off, and if you got to this point, you deserve something. What can I do? I don't know. I'll think of something later. So have a good night and take care.